Tort Law, presented by Daniel Prey. What is tort law? Thinking about two types of tort law. The first one being intentional tort law, or intentional tort, which is when an individual intends to cause another one harm. It could be something as simple as getting upset as a student, grabbing his or her arm, forcing them down the hall, leaving a hand mark so bad that maybe it bruises. Negligence tort is when you fail to act as a responsible person should. Thinking about, could I have done something? Someone falling into a pool and you are a certified lifeguard and not jumping in to save them. Or on the teacher's aspect, one that we fear probably quite a bit is being outside the room when I should have been in my classroom. Maybe even for something as simple as a bathroom break, and something happens in my room and I should have been there. That's negligence tort. Two types of tort law. Both affect teachers greatly. Case number 1. I'm going to be presenting 5 different cases at all different levels. I took out the students' names and just want to focus really on the court cases and how they might relate to my school and my situation, how I could prevent them as an administrator. Here we go. Student gets hurt playing football, so at a high school here. Student goes to the doctor. The doctor says no football for a week or lifting, and he didn't mention any specific time. Goes back to school. The assistant football coach is also the gym teacher. They have weights that day. The assistant football coach knows about the note and asks the student to do a lift. When the student reminds him of the note, assistant coach says, it won't hurt your back. The student gets hurt even worse, which then goes back to the doctor, has done something serious to his back, never could play football again, also could not play baseball, depressed, fails out of school. So what could we have done if we were at St. George Elementary, my school? Or some proactive measures, and what's just some general professional ethics. I don't think it should have came to this. I think at St. George Elementary, if this happened here, obviously the same situation would have happened. I think we would have got sued for it, and I think we should have. Proactive measures could have been handled at a simple coaches meeting. The athletic director taking it upon himself to meet with his coaches and staff. The importance of a doctor's note. I know specifically this could have happened to me. I was coming to practice. My assistant coach had a doctor's note. Didn't say he couldn't practice, just said that he was sick or had a headache. I can't remember which. My assistant coach crumpled up the note, threw it away. I didn't find out about it until later. So it definitely could have happened in my own practical life as well. Professional ethics, we just need to be aware of things. We need to think about things. We practice just being smart. If he had any kind of ethics at all, he would have taken that note and followed through, let it heal up. But I'm sure he was thinking the injury's not that serious. You can get out. Let's go. Come on. Sometimes we don't need to push through, especially recommended by a doctor. Case number 2, the music teacher. Teaching London Bridges falling down, which I have in my classroom also during my math time. I'll talk about that in a second. Teacher demonstrates with student model and says not to do it too hard. So the teacher's up there telling them how to do it, and then they bring up, I think very good direction could have been said here. Brought up students, showed how to play the game, and even reinforced don't do it too hard. Teacher turns her back or his back to write on the board. The kids start playing a game. She turns on the music. Student gets thrown into a bookshelf. As the case read, the student said 3 times very loud to stop going so hard. No one heard. Teacher's back is to it. Music's going loud. They're being thrown into a bookshelf. Student has to have 50 stitches to close the wound. He then suffers blurred vision for weeks and has headaches for the foreseeable future. So we really need to think about this. I have it in my classroom also, and have had students playing London Bridges. My girls and boys have started playing this game this last year. And anytime they were getting too rough or they had maybe 2 in the middle, I stopped it right away. And they also had an area where they were doing it. It wasn't next to a desk or anything. So, I mean, it could have, again, 2 for 2 on it could have happened to me. What can we do at St. George Elementary? Well, like I said, it did happen. It happened here, but nothing came of it. I stopped it before it got too rough. Proactive measures, just thinking about talking to our students specifically and watching them. What if she had her back not turned, watching the students? Also, you know your trouble kids. You know the ones that are going to swing a little bit too hard and throw them back and forth. I know them in my classroom. So keeping an eye on those specific groups, and definitely with the first few rounds, you have to be paying attention. If you want to turn your back then, obviously still not okay, but as long as you are coaching them to start with, maybe stopping them, then re-coaching. So just the professional ethics there of keeping your eyes on the kids. Case number 3, kindergarten, running to his mom after school. Showed this great project that he made. Student trips on a stump. I'm not for sure what this stump looks like. Maybe he tripped before it and then he fell into the stump. I can't imagine the stump was so big. He tripped on the stump and suffered this great injury. But student falls on the stump, stuff sticking up, lands on his face. The stump or one of the pieces goes into his eye and damages part of his brain. The student's going to be affected for the rest of his life. The part of the brain that controls hunger and body temperature was damaged. He doubled his weight gain in 1 year, and he had problems controlling his body temperature, spiking all the way up to 104 for no reason, not sick or anything. I definitely think, what can we do here at St. George? We do an amazing job at St. George, specifically with the kindergartners, first and second graders, third and fourth, maybe a little bit looser, but kindergarten, you are in a line. If you are a walker rider, you are brought to a door. The dismissal is probably the best here at St. George than I've been at prior to this building. They're brought in a line, walking in a line, teacher-led, down to, or aide-led, down to the walker riders, dismissed one at a time by car. Cars are stopped, then they pull out and drive away. As far as bus, a teacher takes the entire student group to the bus. And this is all year. It's not just at the first of the year. So I can't say it would not happen at St. George, but it would be a lot harder because we don't just say go for the kids. And also we really do a above average job of talking about staying on the sidewalk. So I feel like the stump must have been in the grass somewhere. Proactive measures, setting up that specific protocol and getting teachers on the same page of this is what I expect. Professional ethics is a freak accident, tripping in the grass and going. What could you have done besides having the kids stop and move to the sidewalk? I think this is a tough one. More on the freak accident. Case number 4. This was a tough one to just read as far as what has happened. Student goes on a school-sponsored trip to China. While hiking in the mountains, the student gets bit by a tick carrying syphilis. Student suffers serious neurological damage and loss of speech, encephalitis. Student was awarded $41 million, student and parents. So you go on this trip to China that's school-sponsored, knowing things could go wrong. Student's in the mountains, bit by a tick, pulls it out, not for sure the situation, but gets this great disease, loss of speech, neurological damage for the rest of her life, she can't work, brought up in court, and the courts award $41 million in damages. This is a tough one for me to swallow, as you have now just ruined, and I understand that the child, her life is ruined. Her life has completely changed. I get that. But now for kids to not be able to go on school trips ever because of this, I mean, that's what's going to happen. And that's what I researched earlier was Sue happy. People are Sue happy. St. George Elementary, we have not really had people leaving our school as far as to go overseas, or I think more about like field trips, and something like this could happen. We go to the state capitol, we go to a hatchery for fish, We go to the Topeka Performing Arts. So I see that something similar to this could happen. Also, as far as tick bites go, the kids play up in an area on our playground and definitely could and have gotten tick bites before. Proactive measures, keeping them out. Proactive measures of spraying that area. Liability issues of going on a field trip. Parents know, and we've in fact kept kids because parents didn't want them to go to Topeka because it's such a high crime rate. Professional ethics. I don't know about this one as far as kid getting a tick bite. If you removed it, you know how you were supposed to, and I don't know if this could have been prevented based on professional ethics. Last one here. Student goes to lunch. Two students get into a fight. One of the students pulls out a box cutter and proceeds to stab the other one several times. The student suffers chest and face wounds that would eventually scar. Went to court. They did not side with the plaintiff. All the other ones sided with the plaintiff. This one sided with the school. I see several things wrong with this. Obviously, or I believe this is negligence. Most of the others are negligence also, it seems like. Those are the ones that I found. Have it at St. George. We have teachers in the lunchroom. We have teachers walking around. It could happen. I'm not saying it couldn't. What would you do as proactive measures, going over the rules? I don't think you can keep kids apart. Maybe having security systems when they come into school. I know some schools have metal detectors. If this is the case, I mean, you used to be able to carry a knife up at Rock Creek. Our high school, when I went to school, couldn't be more than 1 or 2 inches long. So you could see, I'm sure they have changed that. I'd have to go back to the policy. But this is a tough one also, because how do you stop a kid from a fight in the middle? And if you pull out a knife and it goes to blows right away, you can pull them off, but we still have damages there. Professional ethics. Like, you just need to be up, you need to be mobile as a teacher, you need to be walking around, talking with kids in the lunchroom, especially if you're the one on duty. That's our job, that's where we got to be, and have multiple people in there, you know. And anything that happens, we need to be aware of it and doing our job. My sources are listed here, all the court cases that I've found, and I appreciate your time. I think my big takeaway from this was that we need to be doing an above average job. 1, just being in our classroom. 2, keeping our eyes on the students. And 3, getting in communication with the parents when a situation happens. I can't tell you the number of times I've had, why wasn't I told about this? And the communication was dropped either on my part or the principal's part to contact the parents. So we just need to do an above average job and keep our eyes on the students, and remember that we are here for the students. Have a great day.